always felt like I'm a 20-year-old in a 60-year-old body, that I can still do what I did when I was 20.
Yeah.
I think I'm just doing it smarter now.
All right, here we are back in the sauna for another sauna sesh. In the hot box today, we've got Andy Pradznik. Did I say that?
Pradznik, yep.
Pradznik?
Yep.
Mate, thanks so much for joining us on Sauna Sesh for another week, another podcast.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Well, mate, I better tell all the punters at home. I met you. I've seen you in the gym. So we're both members at World Gym.
Yep.
I've seen you around. I was like, who's this big hulky guy getting around? You always got a smile on your face, right? You're always very easy to talk to.
Yeah.
But I saw you down at Kings Beach doing some breath work.
Yes.
And I thought, this guy's interesting. And then we just got chatting at the gym one day.
Yep.
And then I found out that you're 62 years of age. And I'm like, right, fuck, you got to get on the podcast. And you got to tell everyone at home, how does the Fountain of Youth work and where do we go get how much? But mate, so how did you come across the breath work and is it Wim Hof in particular that you're doing?
I do Wim Hof. Personally, I've done Wim Hof for quite a few years now, and it was an old trainer, Peter Sargent, at one of the gyms that I used to go to in Brisbane. He put me onto it, and he swore by it, and so I suffer with anxiety, even though on the outside I'm actually a very social guy. I'm very out there guy, but I do suffer from a bit of anxiety, and I found that Wim Hof actually helped me control that because I was controlling my breath. And so learning how to breathe, also trying to, I guess, shake away some of the noise. My brain sort of, does a little bit of somersaults every now and then. And so I found that was a really good way for me to manage myself better, Wim Hof. And then I guess I introduced cold showers to that as well. Again, it was just somebody that that I used to train with, and there was a trainer there, and he said, "Oh, I've got to do these cold showers." And I actually found those cold showers quite invigorating. And then I sort of went to the ice bars once a week. I did an ice bath, and I haven't done one for a while, but you put me through the ringer today, and
well, mate,
I tapped out at 2 minutes.
No, you passed the flying colours, mate. Like to do the three rounds of breath work, and I can actually notice in you after that 3 rounds, and then the ice bath, like the whites in your eyes, your mood, right? Everything elevates, doesn't it? And you sort of
absolutely,
it changes everything.
Yeah, it does. And I generally do, if I'm doing Wim Hof, I generally do it before I have a cold shower at home. And that's sort of a regular daily ritual for me. It's just one of those things that I do. And I guess you mentioned the gym and seeing me at Kings Beach doing Wim Hof, and I guess it was probably deeper than that because that was, I guess, the back end of what I was doing there. So,
so you've created a men's group?
Yeah, I sort of a couple of years ago. I'm a bit of a father figure, I guess, at the gym there, and there was a couple of young blokes, particularly one trainer who was struggling with his mental health, and so. I'm always good for a chat. And so I talked about it because I suffer myself. And so over the years, I've been medicated for a long, long time. And I always felt it was embarrassing to talk about. I grew up with a very masculine sort of father who was quite violent. So showing weakness was never, vulnerability was never an option for me when I grew up. So...
That's kind of a generation thing too. Like, when we were younger, now you've got a few years on me, but when we were younger, it's like, suck it up, boys, don't cry. There's no vulnerability. That's the sign of weakness.
Yeah,
that was a thing growing up.
Yeah, but if you go to your local, footy matches and you watch your mums and dads on the sideline, your dads are still, telling the boys to get up because they're a sook. They've got a broken leg. So I think it's still out there.
Yeah, sure.
And I think, for me, as I say, I started the group with one of the guys that was there, used to work there, and he sort of went off and did his thing, and he didn't and then I carried it on through there, and it was pretty much just having conversations through the gym where where guys were having a bit of a struggle with their mental health, and they all of a sudden someone is listening, and matter of fact, I might just add that when you and I had that conversation, when you noticed me at the gym and you talked about, and you were sort of curious, when we had that small conversation, not moments later, a senior fellow around my age has sort of said, oh, I'm a bit curious about that. And so he actually has attended the most recent one. And so he wanted to. And so there is a lot of blokes out there that are still struggling with mental health. And,
for sure, mate.
And I think, what I wanted to do was create a safe space where men can talk. Whatever's said there, it stays there. It doesn't move. We shared experiences and learn, and we encourage them, to get help and seek help. We're not going to answer all their questions, but we're giving them a really safe place where they can feel comfortable and vulnerable. And I think, having vulnerability isn't weakness, it's actually strength.
Oh, for sure. Well, mate, you've got to be one of the better role models out there, for especially a young guy. Like, a lot of them think it's just me. No one else is going through what I'm going through. But if you were to explain to a young guy that I suffer with anxiety, it's like, how can this, strapping, mammoth of a man have anxiety issues? And it's not, we've all got something going on, but it's like, for you to tell that story, and then for whoever's, going through it must be that, just that they can relax into it and go, hang on, okay, maybe
they're not alone.
They're not alone, exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's what I want men to do more, young, old, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. I want them to actually tap into that vulnerability, and it's okay. We did that Wim Hof session earlier on, and I said it always feels like a religious experience. Again, because I grew up in that stoic sort of environment, crying was never an option. And I remember the first time I did cry in a movie, and it took me years, and I can tell you now that it felt
what was the
unbelievable.
Movie? Do you remember the movie?
Yeah, it was. I can't think of the name of the movie, but it was family orientated. So it actually. I looked at my wife and I went, "What's going on here?" And I've never done that. I mean, the only time I ever cried was at my mother's funeral 10 years ago, and so other than that, my wife had never seen me cry. And so.
My film mate was Mr. Holland's Opus. I don't know if you remember that film. But at the end of that, I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but the floodgates opened, and it was just such a touching film that, it's one of those films that for some reason I just bloody cried my eyes out.
And I guess talking to men, and actually just young blokes and older blokes, just talking to them, letting them know that it's not embarrassing. Because I remember the first time that I went to the chemist to get my medication. I felt really embarrassed. I felt really ashamed and, weaker than, because I was always in management roles and leadership roles, and started getting anxiety and panic attacks, and then I lost control of myself.
So even in the roles you're in, you always had to have a stiff upper lip in those roles.
Absolutely. Not just at home, but in my career, and as I worked through my career, it was always in those senior roles. And so...
But you said with your dad, if he's 100% masculine, well, monkey see, monkey do. That's all you kind of know as a youngster. So when did you start to explore more your feminine side, or start to realise, hang on, being 100% masculine isn't probably going to serve me well?
Sometimes I put it down to I had this manager, a boss, and we got on well, but we were very combative. We were always at each other, and everybody knew us as being combative, and we were always at each other. And I always seen him as a real strong role model, but we always butted heads, and I never gave an inch, and neither did he. And he suffered a heart attack, and he ended up having a stroke by hypoxia, and ended up in ICU. And I seen him go from a strong and capable man to not even be able to feed himself. So I don't know, something shifted in me, and I just, something shifted in me then. And I remember it wasn't long after that, I went to that movie, and so the world shifted for me a little bit, and I don't know, but you know, like I said, I grew up in a real masculine home. I was an immigrant to this country, like a lot of people are.
Yeah. So when did you come to Australia?
I was 4.
Okay.
So I was 4, and my family immigrated. And I had younger brothers and sisters and older brothers, and there's a family of 7, 7 children, 4 boys, 3 girls.
Okay.
Typically, you know, we grew up on farms, small crop farms, and the boys were working.
Yeah.
And the girls were in the kitchen and doing the housework.
Was it super competitive with the boys?
No, it wasn't so much competitive. It was just, you know, we just had to get the jobs done.
Yeah.
And there was no time for anything else. You know, as soon as you finished school, you went home, you did your work.
Got stuck in.
It was just weekends you worked. And
yeah.
that's all I ever knew was
work.
Wow. So, I guess, you know, like I said, going back to that men's group, I just wanted to create something to allow men to actually talk.
Yeah. Well, mate, we've got something similar. We like, I'm a drummer by trade back in the day, and so we do something with guys down in Brizzy, and we sit around in a circle, we speak shit, we have a laugh, and we hit some djembe jumps. And all the guys, like me, like I get so much out of it. And it is the you know, there's no judgment, everyone's there for a good time. But even through the drumming you connect, so you're playing similar beats, everyone's picking up the rhythm, and there's something you know, in a world that, I don't know, in a world that can be quite complicated
and chaotic.
And chaotic, it's good to have these things to go to. So, mate, thanks for the invite. I'm going to come and do a Wim Hof session with you down at Kings Beach. You know,
what a better place to do it that way. You know, it's a great place to do it. First thing in the morning, 5 a.m. You know,
mate, I never take it for granted. There's $1 million beaches where we live. Like, you know, like, you ever been to Europe and you see people sunbathing on rocks?
People pay a lot of money to come here.
Yeah, we've got miles and miles of beaches. I've never taken, and just sitting there having a coffee. And I don't know if you realise that Kings Beach Bar, where we are, I think it's the closest beach to the sand. I don't know if in southeast Queensland. Exactly. So if you think about it, like how far it is from the actual shore, it's really close.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's a great spot. And some of the reasons I did it early in the morning is I didn't want to involve alcohol in this. I didn't want it to be an afternoon session with the boys, because that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to remove alcohol and drugs and you know, just not to have that element in there. And just, I think first thing in the morning is a really good way to wake up, talk about it.
Sure.
It's sort of, you know, particularly the ocean swim afterwards, there's nothing better, and then a coffee and banter afterwards, and then we go off with our day. I don't think there's a bloke in that group that doesn't, you know, feel better afterwards when they walk away and they finish the rest of their day. It's a really good way to kick off the day. And
for sure,
you know, some blokes turn up all the time, some don't. But you know, if 2 people turn up or even 1 person turns up, well, that's all you need. That's all you need. You know, I sort of.
Mate, it's even why I started this podcast as well. You know, I think we're up to about 60 or something I was telling you earlier. I've never had someone leave. I've sorry, punters, I forgot to do the honorary ladling of the water. So there you go. Andy, we're off now. Now we start.
That's some heat in there. Yeah.
I got stuck in the conversation, mate. I was riveting. So I'm So anyway, there you go. We are in a real sauna, everyone at home, and there's real rocks and there's real heat. Yeah, just to make sure for the people that are scrolling. If you're afterwards, mate, we'll throw a little bit of eucalyptus on there too, and nice. Goes through the nostrils and just opens all the sinuses up. It's beautiful, good stuff. Yeah. So, mate, you were telling me a little bit earlier too that growing up, did you like? Obviously, you've changed and evolved as a person. That young, teenager, 20-year-old, would you like that guy today?
No, I wouldn't.
Why is that?
He was a bit of a rat bag. He was a bit of a shithead. He didn't treat. I think I always treated people well. But, you know, I remember when I was first, you know, on the dating scene as a young teenager, you know, I was, you know, dating women here and there and left, right, and I don't think I treated them the way they should have been treated. And so, you know, I was a bit of a, you know, roustabout, I guess. My mates were all scumbags. We called each other that. But then when I met my wife, you know, she told me to, neck off in different words. She wasn't going to be one of those.
She challenged you.
Although she was much younger than me, I sort of, she was so much more mature than me.
It
It wasn't long until I sort of decided that actually, I could see myself with her.
So sort of self-awareness became apparent to you that, hang on, maybe this is not serving me. And you started getting curious and you started, hang on, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah, I did. I definitely, some of my mates were getting married and they're having children and things like that. And I thought, that's, when am I going to grow up? And I didn't want to just marry somebody for the sake of it. Both my brothers got married very early, young, and had children, and they weren't happy, and I didn't want to be that person.
How old were you when you got married?
I was 28.
Yeah, right.
I was 28 when I got married. My brothers got married at, age of 19 and 20. And
it's young. Well, you're still finding your feet, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're still trying to work out who you are.
I hadn't figured that bit out yet. And so, I guess, that's 30-odd years, 32 years ago now. And I think
you're still happily married.
Absolutely, yeah. The evolution, I think, for me is that, I think you have to have some self-reflection and honest reflection.
Oh, for sure.
And I think you've got to have enough emotional intelligence to know that, and awareness that, you can take up a lot of energy in a room. And I know that even in my role at the moment, I work for the Department of Transport and I'm one of the business leads in technology uplift. And I know that, I get excited and enthusiastic about it, and I've got 6 other people in the meeting room, and I've got to make sure that I give myself time to pause, to give them a break,
give them space. Yeah.
So, and I'm very aware of that. I know who I am.
Yep.
And I think, good, bad, or indifferent, I've made those changes and I've evolved. And I think,
do you find the older you get, the less you speak?
No. I wish that was the case. If you can mute me, that'd be great. But
because people can't shut me up either. Like we talked about it before. Like I get juiced off people. I love conversations with people.
Yeah.
I'm allowed. I wouldn't go well as a librarian. Right?
No, I think we both have those tenor voices.
Oh, mate, people can hear me coming from a bloody mile away. There's no whisper voice with me, but I'm okay with that, and that's who I am. And if I am trying to, I'm downplaying myself,
you're not you,
and that's not me. Yeah. So I like being, but I'm also spot on. It's that awareness that hang on. It's like if you walk into a room, don't make it all about you. It's even sometimes you get excited. And that's part of the excitement.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what we've got to be aware of, and, blokes who are bigger blokes and we walk into a room, we sort of, we're bigger than the average, person. We've got that ooze and confidence, and that can intimidate some people without knowing it. And so I purposely, consciously make sure that, if I'm in a room or in a meeting room, I don't sit at the head of the table. I sit in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
I make sure I grew up and, the head of the table was my father's.
Yeah.
You never ever sat there.
Yeah.
So I actually never do that. I do the opposite and purposely and consciously do that because I know that that's a behaviour I need to kick out of me, and I don't need to have all the attention because
you're a humble human being. And no, that's good. That's good because it is one of those. You're spot on. Like when you're 6'2", 6'3", you walk into a room. There's people notice you straight away, and then you're fucking loud, like I'm loud.
Absolutely.
On top of that,
yeah.
It's like, holy shit, like it can be a little bit overwhelming.
This bloke's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. It can be too much.
It can be too much for some people.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
I used to bound up the stairs. I remember I worked in one particular office. I used to bound up the stairs and say "G'day" to the little old lady at the end. One of the directors came to me and said, "Mate, you have to stop doing this." I said, "Why?" I'm just happy. I'm bouncing. She said, she's frail and old. She doesn't need that first thing in the morning. And you haven't even had a coffee yet.
Oh, shit. Do you drink coffee?
I do, I generally just one a day.
Okay.
And not religiously. I try and steer away from that. I'm not a big one.
I don't know.
I like a good coffee.
Oh, yeah. You a black coffee man or
no?
You're a cappuccino?
Cappuccino.
I love a cappuccino, mate. It's like my going out coffee. If I'm going down to the Kings Beach bar, I get a cappuccino because I just love the bloody chocolate. I've got a sweet tooth, mate. So a little bit of chocolate or something sweet.
Very nice.
But it keeps the smile radiating for a little bit longer.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm not, as I say, I'm not a every day I need one. Generally I don't. but I do like it.
Yep.
And you know what, I have encouraged even blokes to just catch up for a coffee.
Yep.
Rather than catch up for a beer. So I encourage that, just to have a coffee with blokes rather than a beer.
Yeah.
Because that so easily leads down the wrong path. It's okay for blokes to women do it all day, every day. You see women, getting around and having coffee, catch ups and things like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We don't do it, but I'm starting to break that trend now, and you often see me.
Mate, I still think there's a place for a beer.
Absolutely.
And I love a beer when the sun's going down and it's with good company. Right, you know what I mean? It's just, and it's
nice cold beer.
Yeah. But you've got to earn it too. So it's got to be like a hard day's work or something. You put in something hard, and it's like it's just a nice way to end the day. I think mentally that can be good for you. Each their own.
You have to have a beer shower.
Yeah. What's a bit? Hang on, beer shower.
Beer shower. Yeah, just stick a beer in the freezer just before you have a shower. Have a nice cold shower and woof it in the shower. There's nothing better. There's nothing better.
A beer shower.
A beer shower. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do the freezer. For like 5 minutes. If it's like a really hot day and it's like I just want it to be that extra cold.
Yeah.
A beer shower. I haven't tried that, mate. No.
There you go.
So hang on, under cold water.
Under cold water.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
There's nothing better. Nothing better.
Are you chugging it? Are you
absolutely.
Sculling? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
beer shower. There's always a first on Sauna Session show. A beer shower. Okay. Yeah, there you go. I'll have to give it a crack. It is Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Now, mate, the other thing I want to talk to you about is discipline. Discipline.
Yeah.
You go in the gym 5 days a week. You don't look 62 years of age, whatever that construct is of age. You don't look it, mate. Where does discipline come into your game?
Probably wrongly or rightly, the way I was brought up. Regimented.
Yep.
It was regimented, and so whenever I do something that's part of my DNA, I've got to follow a certain path. I get a lot of mental wellness out of going to the gym. Now, when I first started going to the gym, I was 6'2" and I was 75 kilos wringing wet.
Yeah.
And so it was all about putting on muscle, and that was to drive the ego a bit more and, get the ladies.
Yep.
Later on it sort of changed a little bit, and then probably now it's more about the mental health, the actual physically still move it or lose it. I love getting, I love training. I love it. Just, there's nothing better than, pushing weights and also, training with some good buddies and having, it's a really good outlet. And we're lucky, I go to World Gym and there's, they accommodate for a lot of different people.
So are you doing high reps, low weight, or high weight, low reps?
Yeah, it just depends on the day. Yep. I probably around that medium now. Over the years, I've sort of put too much pressure on the heavyweight stuff, and the knees, the elbows, and the shoulders do wear out. I can't. I need a shoulder reconstruction here on my left shoulder. Yeah, right. But I've just changed my habits, and I still. So instead of doing maybe 100%, you drop it to 90%. So you're still pushing hard, and you're getting a lot more reps out and more control. Less pressure on the joints, more muscle hypertrophy, rather than get that blood pumping in there. And and for me, just trying to also move, like do some stretching and obviously do some walking as well. So bring your cortisol levels down so you can actually walk. So and diet's a big part of it as well.
That was my next question. What are you eating, mate, to sustain? Because if you're working out 5 times a week, you're going to get hungry, aren't you?
I guess I polished my diet up, and when I turned 50, I decided I wanted to compete in bodybuilding because it was one of those bucket list things. I want to do it. And I did that. I went okay. Didn't set the world on fire, but what it did to me, it allowed me to get on stage, do something that I never thought I could. I wanted to. But push past barriers that I never thought I could.
Yeah.
That hard dieting, that hard training, that discipline.
Yep.
I didn't find that too challenging. What I did find was that it was very selfish, and my wife opposed it because.
So if you're going to a bodybuilding competition, are you working out twice a day, eating?
No, generally just it's a one day
thing.
Okay.
And but 7 days a week?
It's probably 6 days a week.
Okay.
And it's a lot of eating and a lot of resting, and then obviously getting ready for the prep and cutting down for it.
But it's all about you.
It is very selfish. It's a very selfish sport, and when I do something, I want to do it 100%, and I don't want to know what the other competitors are doing because I really don't care. It's my journey. But I know that they're doing something, and I need to do it better than they are. And so I wanted to be fully exposed, and I actually joined up with a good mate of mine, Tony Struck, and he used to compete in the 80s, and I used to admire him. He was the bodybuilder of bodybuilders, and so
he was the sports.
We actually caught up after 20 years of not, seeing each other, and he sort of vaguely knew who I was, and I really knew who he was. Anyway, he came back in the gym, and for 3 or 4 years we trained together and competed together.
Nice.
He beat me every time. But that was okay because it was our journey, and it was a really fun time. But
it sounds like this guy he's up here, so that helps you to climb the mountain, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we trained together. I helped, we helped each other with our dieting and things like that. But and I guess that's where I started setting the platform of my diet. My background in finance, I was doing spreadsheets and things like that before all these diet apps came along. I was working all the macros out because it's just numbers. And so I actually worked it all out. And I remember the first one I ever did, I tracked 20 weeks on a spreadsheet every single day. And so from there on, I sort of started developing a pattern and a methodology that sort of worked. And it didn't just work for me, it worked for others as well. And so
do you still spreadsheet? So you know your calories?
No, I don't so much spreadsheet.
Macros?
I'm more.
I sort of understand.
I start to understand. You know what you need to eat, and you know what's bad. I don't eat McDonald's. I don't eat. My bad food for the weekend might be a Hello Harry's burger, and they are damn good, by the way. Big plug to Hello Harry's. I expect a free burger out of that. But that's a great feed for me.
They've moved, haven't they? They moved from.
They have moved into a bigger, better site. But in terms of diet, it's discipline. It's every day. Eating. The macros, making sure you have enough protein, you have enough good fats, and you have enough carbohydrates in your diet. And I guess taking more of a holistic view of it. I do go to bed at 8 o'clock every night.
What time do you get up?
5 a.m. I get up at 5 a.m. and some mornings at 4:30. But I go to bed at 8 o'clock. My wife and I both go to bed at 8 o'clock. Seems crazy. But I need to know at 60 odd years of age, I need to rest my body.
Oh, mate, it's so especially if you're putting the work in that you are to start the day, you'll get exhausted quite quickly if you're not getting those hours in.
A young bloke said to me this morning. He asked me, and it's quite often, hey, what do you do? What do you do? And I said, well, it's not what you do here for 2 hours. It's what you do for the other 22 hours. And I think that's really important. Eating and sleeping and making sure you get your macros and your micro macros in, things like that. So
that's good.
They're really important. Sleeping, you can't underestimate it.
I'll tell you something we've set up here is we've got Alexa, and we've set up this routine that Alexa tells us to go to bed at 9 p.m. And after a while, I was like, shit, I better do what Alexa told me to do. And so we actually got into this routine at 9 p.m. We better go to bed. So we got into the 9 p.m. and I'm getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock sort of thing. But that 9 p.m. for me is a good number, but I think getting that scheduling in, like if you're doing 8 p.m. one night, midnight the next, I don't know how shift workers do it, mate.
I don't know how they do it, and their bodies, hormones are all over the place because they're not getting the right sleep, and sleep's so important. It's just the most. I mean, there's no secret as to why they put people in an induced coma. It's so their body can completely recover and rest at the same time, and so that's why they do that in the medical professions. But for me, it's not just about going to bed at 8 o'clock. I always have to shut my mind down because I'm always thinking about something. So I read, and I took up reading, I reckon about 20 odd years ago.
Okay.
And
So when your head hits the pillow, you don't fall asleep. Like it takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while.
So, and that's where the reading comes into play.
Yeah.
So how long do you read for before you?
Yeah, sometimes it can be, half a chapter, and sometimes it can be 5.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
What I found with reading, and I used to sit up at 2 a.m. and watch TV because my head was thing, and I had anxiety, and TV does it all for you. But when you read a book, you have to build the environment in your head.
Oh, for sure.
They talk about the characters, they build the scene for you, the feelings and all that, and so you can't read a book without bringing all that in. So you have to shut everything else off.
Yeah. And in some ways, that's your workout for your brain too.
Yeah. And so it's sort of. You said something earlier on that resonated with me, your favourite time of the day.
Yeah.
Well, my favourite time of the day is going to bed and picking up the book.
There you go.
And that is actually my favourite time of the day. And my wife and I both do it. We both read.
Okay.
And then
And so she's jumping to bed at 8 p.m. too?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
And we used to laugh at friends of ours, they're similar ages to us. And they're going to bed at 8 o'clock and they go... I think we just become Tony and Lisa.
Yeah, we're doing the same.
But it feels good. It really does feel good. And
we're in strife if we start having dinner at 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we are definitely. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that.
We may as well just start playing bingo now.
Absolutely.
Oh mate, that's brilliant. Yeah. So what sort of foods are you eating?
Yeah, pretty boring. Pretty boring. So I start the morning off with 6 eggs, only 2 yolks.
Yep.
And then I generally have some oats with some skim milk and half a banana. That might be the breakfast.
Get going. Yeah.
Morning tea might be maybe 180 grams of tuna, half a bag of pre-cooked rice. And I have that for morning tea. And normally it's chicken and rice for lunch. And actually. Plug to Aldi because they have this chicken chipotle that's so much better than the muscle meal ones, and they're $8.
There you go.
And so
chicken chipotle.
Yeah, so I'll just buy one of those meals. Yeah, it's $8.
There's some gold nuggets at Aldi.
There's
a few.
So it's a really good balance of good fats. Sometimes I might decide just to have a milkshake, but again, in that milkshake, I'll have some milk, I'll have some banana, some protein shake. I'll either put some avocado for good fats or just put some pure peanut butter in there,
nice.
Unprocessed one, the one with the oil in it. People are scared of oil, but it's not bad.
As long as it's good oil.
It's good oil. So
you're eating really clean. So,
absolutely.
So mate, we can sit here for another 3 hours, but basically what you're doing is you're getting good sleep, you're training first thing in the morning, and you're eating good foods.
It's probably not. It's not that scientific, is it? Really,
it's not
really
that hard.
Not that difficult. Really,
but then there's also mentally self-awareness that you want to evolve as a person. You want to build who you are through reading. So you are doing other things up here because I've always said these two are connected. The physical and the mental. If this is feeling strong, this will start to feel strong, and vice versa. So there is an interconnectivity between the two. Mate, what you're doing, it's not hard, is it?
No, it's not hard, but it does require discipline.
Yes.
Just going back to a conversation, one of the optometrists, he said to me, "How do I look like you?" And I said, "It's easy."
Yeah.
I said, "You do this, and that. You eat, you train, you sleep, you do that, and you do that for 20 years." And it's not hard. But I think people like the easy out. People aren't just eating takeout food; they're too lazy to go and get it. So they pay somebody to go and get their rubbish food that gets on their doorstep. That's how lazy modern society's got. So I think I think once I ordered an Uber Eat and it wasn't a very good experience.
Oh, it's cold.
And I had to go and get it. But I just don't do that sort of stuff. And like the last Hungry Jack's meal I had was at Christmas, and I took my.
Did you feel like shit after it?
I did not like it, but I took my nieces. Little kids, their son and daughter, to a Christmas thing. And they said, I said, "All right, what do you want for dinner?" And they said, "We want Hungry Jack's." And I went, and my wife said, and I begrudged eating it. And my wife said, "Just do it this once." And I know I'm going to hate it, but I'm hungry and I'm going to eat it. And I smashed the gym the next day. Trust me. It doesn't sit well with me either. You know,
Well,
like
if
if you had a diesel, you had a diesel, would you put petrol in it? What does it do? It kicks and splutter and carry on. And
that's the good thing about when you start flipping the hourglass to eating really good. The shit food, like the bad foods, taste shit.
Yeah,
and you actually like it may be satiating in the moment, but it's you feel it. It's like that's not good for like you
can't
just
be good.
No,
it can't be good. Anything that's mass produced.
So it's almost like you know that there's chemicals and preservatives and all these
but
other
you're just
shit.
turning a blind eye to it. And like we talked about, water, filtered water. Now we've got a water filter at home. We know that if you drink out of a tap, it's pretty disgusting.
Yeah,
and there's some pretty horrible stuff in there.
Yeah.
It won't kill you, but it's not nice. And if you have a water filter, you're drinking chemically free water because it's all out and all the minerals are back in there again, which is spot on. And I think food's the same.
Yeah.
I think food really.
See, like, mate, I got you on thinking. I knew that like there's no magical cure, there's no magical pill that's going to do this, but you at the age of 62, mate, are living proof that if you do some simple things in life, you can have a great life, you can have a great family, you can have a great life, and it's but it's doing those little 1%ers, and the discipline that comes into that. Sure, it's okay to have a cheat day and have a bloody burger every now and again, but you're not reinventing the wheel, mate, are you?
No, not really, no. And what we've got to be mindful of, there's one thing you can't buy is your health. So, if we're going to, I'm 62 and I'm talking about retirement in a few years' time, and my wife and I are planning that retirement now and, strategically looking at, do we get another investment property? But we're looking at that now. But also we're looking at our health and we've always been health conscious. So it's really important that that's part of your retirement phase. It's not just about the money and how you're going to retire and how comfortable and what you're going to do, but how you're going to enjoy that retirement. If you are busting yourself up by the time you get to your retirement age, there's no enjoyment in it. And all you're doing is sitting in a hospital queue. And then really that's costing the taxpayers a whole lot of money. And to me, I've never wanted to do that. I've always felt like I'm a 20-year-old in a 60-year-old body, that I can still do what I did when I was 20. I think I'm just doing it smarter now.
Spot on.
If I have a little injury, I just manage that injury. If I know I've got a shoulder problem, I just reinvent the exercise, so I work around that. If I need rest, I'll rest.
So you're very in tune with your body and what it's telling you, and you act accordingly to what it's saying to you. So, mate, again, but in some ways though, in today's culture and society, you're the odd man out. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, there is a few out there. There's a few out there. There's always going to be exception to the rule, but look, we should all just be like that. Now, in a perfect world, but there's so many temptations around us, like we drive past here, mate, there's KFC, there's Macca's, there's all these, like, don't get me wrong, mate, the smell of KFC, holy shit, like, it gets the nostrils every time.
Absolutely. And, I've heard people say, oh, that's just genetics. And well, I've got three brothers, I could show you what they look like. and they have the same genetics as me. So it's not genetics. And, I have, in my early days, I remember when I was very young, before I met my wife, I blew out to about 115 kilos or something. And so, that was not nice. So, from there on through, I made a conscious effort that, it wasn't about be the biggest guy in the gym, because there's always someone bigger. There's always someone that can lift more than that. And I think you have to check your ego and just be a bit smarter about how you do things.
But then after a while too, mate, it just becomes automated, doesn't it? Like and that's when the cool stuff starts to happen. Is like I just get up and get it done. Like, I don't know about you this morning, mate, but I was freaking tired. I didn't want to do it, but it's like, okay, let's just go. Let's just get it done anyway.
See, so I bounce out of bed.
What's your brain? What's your process when it's like, nah, let's just roll over and pull the dune over?
I don't know what that feels like.
You never know.
I do not know what that feels like.
All right, maybe you are an exception to the rule.
Maybe I am. I've never ever known what that felt like, because you know, I get up in the morning and it's the very first thing I want to do, and I can't wait to get there.
You're
because,
at it. Yeah.
But it's not just, you know, I can't wait to see some of the mates and gym buddies that are there, and you know, we have a laugh and a giggle, and that makes part of the day start so much nicer. And
awesome.
I think, you know, there was a study done years ago about, you know, people that lived the longest years, and they did this study across all of the world and all these different countries and all these different
blue
ethnicities.
zones, I think it is.
And one of the things that they found was that a common thing, and it was by accident, was the social interactions that these people had with their local community and their friends and family.
Has to be, yeah.
And so, you know, that connection with people was one of the key aspects of them living a longer, better life.
For sure.
I'm sure the food and the exercise and all that had a lot to do with it, but
there's an island in Italy that has the more people over 100 than anywhere around the world. And so they followed one of the guys around. He's got a smile on his face. I think that counts for something. I think that counts for at least an extra.
He's not angry at the world, is he?
No. If you're angry at the world, that's a lot of energy.
It's a lot of energy, isn't it? You see people are hangry, and it takes a lot. It's so much easier to smile and be happy.
That's it. Yeah. But like, and he was still moving, still working. I think, you know, so out like they're always using their hands, so they're always staying strong. But then they're drinking wine at night, but they're laughing with people again.
And, they're having oils. They're having good oils. You know, that's I think, you know, back in the 80s, you know, there was this big, you know, push on having, you know, low fat in all the dairy products, and we know low fat just means high sugar. And I don't need to validate that. You go to any supermarket and you have a look at a carton of milk, and you have a look at the skim milk, and you have a look at the raw milk, and you'll see,
can taste it.
You'll see the sugar condensed through the roof. And so people forgot that actually your body needs fat to process the brain. And if you know, like, and what was interesting, going back to my, you know, days when I was trying to compete in bodybuilding, was one of the things I learned is actually good fats helps reduce body fat. I had no idea. And so the inclusion of, you know, raw peanut butters and avocados and good fish, you know, deep sea fish with those omega oils, that was all part of the diet. And I went, okay, that doesn't make sense, but it does now.
Have you ever watched any of those shows? There's either Survivor or Alone. Have you seen Alone?
Yes.
So when people are hungry, they're looking for fat, you know, and protein, obviously. But to me, that's the caveman-ish, you know, way. It's like, okay, what does the body really need? You know, and but fat's a big one. You know,
good fats are really,
catch
really
a porcupine
important.
or something. They're looking to get the fat, and you know, and that they know that's could get them through another day.
Well, it's interesting that, you know, how the body works, because obviously the higher the cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, the more the body hangs on to body fat. So you know,
visceral fats.
You talked about that. You're happy, the happy Italian. You know, anything that stresses your body, whether it's mentally or physically, it will raise your cortisol levels. And so cortisol level means that your body's in a protective zone, and it's going to hang on to body fat. So being happy is pretty good. It's pretty good for your body.
Oh, mate, but mate, you do have this aura about you that you've always got a bloody smile on your face. Like, to me, that is, it's easy to come and have a chat with someone with a smile on their face. It drops the barrier. You know, so if you've got this sus look on your face and you're angry, or, you know, you know, people don't want to talk to that. So, mate, you do have this this halo about you, this, you know, aura that makes it quite easy to talk to you.
I've never been told that, but thank you.
But, well, that's the truth, mate. Well, even like I said, because I saw you down the beach, and I thought, and then I think I was just walking by in the gym. I thought, I'll just, for some reason, I thought, I'll just say good day. You know, but if you were any other way, I don't know, if you know, this angry look on your face, I probably wouldn't approach you. So
I guess
you've definitely got this open and welcoming very nature about you.
I just think, you know, for me, you know, just doing this men's group, it's just a little bit of giving back to society, and that makes it's sort of selfless but selfish at the same time, because I get a great feeling out of it. I really get a lot of value out of you know, helping blokes, and I love seeing blokes open up and mature and actually have conversations. You know,
mate, I think you got to do it too. Like, it's being selfish, and I've thought about this you've got to recharge the batteries. So if you're always giving love, you're dwindling the batteries. If you're not looking after yourself, right, you've got less love to give. So be a little bit selfish, recharge the batteries, and then you can Care Bear stare everyone. You know what I mean? So there's always more love to give when you're fully your buckets are full. You know?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, but part of that is, you got to spend time in the gym. That's your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you've got to be a little bit selfish at times.
You can set the watch on my. If a training partner said, I generally train with one of my buddies, and said, what are your time going to be? That's 5:30 every day. Every
so
day.
that's your time, 5:30 in the gym?
5:30 every day.
Yeah.
If I'm, it depends on where I'm working. I sometimes I work in the city, and those times I work. I don't go to the gym. When I go into the city, it's too long a day, but it's really good because it's forced me to have a rest day, and that's okay too. And then if I'm working in the Maroochydore office, because of the car park issues, I'll train in the afternoon.
Gotcha.
So I sort of get a different vibe from different times of the day, but my preference is first thing in the morning.
5:30,
And even the weekends, my wife goes, well, you can just sleep in. I said, but my body doesn't say sleep in.
No. And you can't actually hang around in bed either. Like and mate, I think the older you get, you start to realise that just trying to get back to sleep, or it just doesn't work. Like once you're up, your body clock says we're up. Get up and, I don't know, read a book, or I don't know.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
My wife and I used to go to the gym together.
Yeah.
And I used to get cranky at her because she would take half an hour to get ready. So, well, how hard can it be just to go? I'm just let's go.
Yeah. It's one of the great wonders of the world, mate.
So I made a decision ages ago. I said, listen, I'm just going to get up. I'm just going to go. What's the hurry? You know what? I just want to go. And see, if I go to the gym and I get an hour and a half of weights training, I go, you know what? I've got some time. I'm going to do some stretching. I'll do some cardio. Do some chatting. I don't mind having a chat, and then I'll start the day. But I think
the answer lies in a treasure chest in the San Andreas Fault that's like 2 clicks under the water, mate. We've got to get down there and find out what the answer is. But I don't think we'll ever know. I love my wife too, mate. But it's like, what the fuck are you like? I'm ready for it. And I know I can be a pain in the ass too. It's like, are you ready? You ready?
Oh, yeah. I'm like that.
I can hear my own self,
no, It's
like a broken fucking record.
It's similar to when my wife says goodbye to people when we're visiting friends. I'll say my goodbyes. I say, all right, see you next time. And then I'll be in the car and she'll be doing the rounds and she'll be there for half an hour, and everyone knows now there's 3 beeps and she's got to come. On the 3rd beep they push her out the door.
I haven't hugged Auntie Beatrice or whatever,
But if I haven't hugged her, I haven't talked to Auntie Beatrice, and now I need to strike a conversation about something that happened to a cat.
What a piss. I'm the same. See you, mate. It's a quick round, and you'll catch up with everyone eventually, but it's like, okay, it's like we've called it. Let's get in the car.
And I think my wife and I are universally completely opposite, and that's what's made it work so well.
For sure.
Because if someone says to me, "Listen, at 2:00, I'm there at 5 to 2. My wife turns up at 2:15. Well, it's only a party, and we don't all have to get there at the same time.
She's just fashionably late, mate.
But if someone says 2:00, I'm going to be there at 2:00 because they're getting hors d'oeuvres ready. They're whatever they're doing. They want you to be there at 2:00, and they don't want you to hang around for half an hour. And if everyone did that, then the miles will say 2:30. So anyway,
mate, if I see your wife in the gym, I'll come up and have a good laugh about this, but because I'm sure she's going to watch this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the sauna for a chat, and thanks for doing the deluxe package and going through the breathwork, the ice bath, and then in the sauna, mate, the couple of steam on the sauna, you start to get a bit of a sweat on, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I haven't been in the sauna for a while, and
well, mate, great. Like I've told this story a couple of times, but I would go straight into the sauna from World Gym. That's the only half the reason I'm a member there is because I keep the workout going into that sauna. It's some of the guys that tell you their stories in the sauna, like you literally, how's it going, mate? I was, I broke up with my girlfriend, this happened, like they would just unload. And I started to work out it's because you actually you're expunging all this fluids, like you're letting it out. It actually also gives you this mental, license to say, I'm just going to unload and just, tell people how I feel, and which is a good thing, I think,
And possibly because that's their zone. That's their zone. They feel a little bit more safer there and alone. Look, yeah, I think anytime blokes talk is great.
Yeah. The one thing I'm starting to pick up on, mate, is the phone is slowly making its way in the sauna. It's like, oh, you got to keep this. That's the 15 minutes. Keep it out, and look, just like that text can wait. You know,
I'm the same with my phone in the gym. I actually leave it in the car. And I don't. If someone needs to call me, then unfortunately,
you'll get back to them.
Yeah, I'll get back to them. Nothing so urgent that I need to be on the phone.
That's it.
Yeah, I think that's probably where a lot of the young blokes are going wrong.
Mate, I think
they don't train like we do now.
Well, I think you got to have some rules around the phone, because it's set up to be your vice and literally in your claw. And you know, you start scrolling, there's all this shit to interest you. You know, so it's I get it.
I think we're all guilty of it.
Oh, for sure.
But you know, being aware of it and then actually doing something about it. And I think that's really, you know.
Do you know when I catch myself, like, just looking at is when the immune system's down a bit and I'm tired.
Yeah.
That's when I find I'll do something, and I may lose 5 minutes or something, but then I realise this is, you know, no good. So I never have the phone in the bedroom. It's always in the pantry, but there's got to be, and work, it's got to be out of the office. Like, it can't be in the office. So the little things that just
I think it's
highly addictive.
It's terribly addictive, and you know, I see that, you know, even in Brisbane, you know, the other day I was walking to my office, and you know, young people on their phones, they're literally walking across the road looking at their phone. They're not even looking at the traffic. Now, I know that they hear the beep, but they're not looking left and right to see if a car's actually run the light. They're actually physically looking at their phone.
Mate,
and it's incredible how many people, and I'm a bit of a shit, because I see particularly the Asian people, they spend a lot of time on their phones, and they're walking down the main street. I started doing it. I started doing it not so long ago, and wait till they get to about here, and I don't stop. I don't move. I go, heads up, and they go, oh, sorry, like that, because they don't know. They actually don't know what's 3 feet in front of them. They actually have no idea.
They're absorbed.
They're totally absorbed, and they're like this, and I'm that close, and I go, heads up.
Mate, there's got to be a stat out there of people that are actually heading to heaven from phone-related injuries, or just, you know, like totally unaware of what's going on, either in the car or walking in, and they've just walked into a bloody manhole, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's not getting better.
No, I don't think it is. And even with modern technology, I think it's made it worse. You know, I know that, you know, my car, I can actually plug the phone in, and then I can ask Siri to call certain people, and and that's the hands off. It's okay. You can have the conversation. But you still see a lot of people using the phone with the little dash, and
the one thing that was supposed to connect us has disconnected us in a way, and so
it sort of has. And I think the art of communications, particularly the young ones, is lost, because you know, we talked about when I started dating, you actually had to ask somebody. You had to. You know, you had to get the guts up and ask somebody, you know. Hey.
So on that, mate, I've got to do a stand-up comedy routine. My friend of mine, she's thrown me in the deep end, and I've got to go do raw comedy in a couple of weeks from now. And I want to talk about that. Right?
Yeah, talk to me.
Because, like, I'm shitting Dax. Like, because I've never done stand-up comedy, but it's like, okay, fuck it, let's give it a go. But I want to talk about, like, how I met my wife. This will probably come out after the comedy show anyway. But she posed as a bloody photographer and was flirting, right? And then I'm on the bloody dance floor, like, doing some contemporary dance to get her. Like, it's like a peacock and a giraffe.
Oh, you know? Right,
But the art of flirting is dying.
Absolutely.
And to me,
there's just swiping.
Oh, yeah. So, but when I met my wife, there was this electricity in the air. Yeah. You know, she's asking me how big my head is. Like, all, you know, like, we're putting hands to hand, just even the touch. You know, it's just, it's crazy. So the art of flirting, and that was a big reason that I was into her, was just the way she came across. And it was totally harmless, but she was flirting her ass off. And I loved it. And so I start flirting back.
Yeah.
I don't know where the art of flirting's
gone. I
don't
know if young people can do it, because you can see them. You can see young people, they swipe left or right or whatever they do now to actually get a date.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what they're seeing on the image, it's actually what they're looking at is the physical side. They're looking at the person on the other side. It's always enhanced. It's always enhanced. It's never actually who they are. Because they use AI technology to enhance themselves. Nobody's going to know what they look like in photos. When they were younger, because every time they took a photo, they enhanced it. So they actually won't remember when they looked like they look.
Mate,
Where if I look at my photos, you used to have to wait to the chemist to finish the film.
Those were the days, mate.
And
come back tomorrow.
But now they artificially do that. And so going back to the flirting, what sort of chemistry is there? Because there is none. And, and that's generally the human touch is that chemistry.
Mate.
That sort of... It actually can't be explained. It's just there.
Mate, I would some days just take a hug from my wife over just that touch of the skin. Yeah. That does it for me some days.
Yeah.
But it's, mate, I think the...
Comedy routine, sorry, mate.
Oh, mate, this is the thing, I'm now 47. It's how many things haven't I done in life? A shitload. It's okay, and when she rang me and said, okay, you're going to do this, it's like, okay, let's just do it. So we're signed up. I've been shitting my dacks for the last 6 weeks.
Wow.
And I'm sort of starting to work out routine and because you've got 5 minutes. So, if you crash and burn, that's anyway. But it's like, I can't say no. I've got to go do it now. So I'm getting to that stage in life where it's like, I'd really regret it if I did say no. So got to give it a go.
I think all good comedians can reflect on life's experiences and see the funny side of it.
And wrap it up into a story with rhythm and timing and then take people on a journey. And so I think it's not easy. Because that's the thing is like you're there to make people laugh. People have paid $10, $20 admission. For value from you, they want some chuckles, right? And if they're not getting it,
and we know,
they'll let you know.
We talked about anxiety earlier on. We know the hardest thing to do is public speaking, and now you're going to get up on stage and do a comedy act, and you're not a comedian.
But mate, we got to give it a crack. It's like so. We'll see how we go. That's
absolutely.
Jesus, this could be the last podcast, mate. My whole ego will be shattered.
Well, who knows? It might be the other way around.
It could be the best thing ever. Yeah, spot on, mate. That's the way I'm looking at it.
It could pave a way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It could pave a way.
I was listening to Joe Rogan's one of his podcasts the other day, and he was talking about that. With that sort of stuff, you may get the bug and you may like, oh, I did that, but I could maybe do better. And then before you know it, it's a snowball effect. And you're on this career to bloody become a comedian because you get addicted and hooked on it, which I think is a good addiction to have.
And I think storytelling is really important. And I think Joe Rogan is good at storytelling.
Mate, I think he's just literally just interested in the person across from him and wants to know what makes them tick, and that makes the whole conversation interesting to me. I find it very entertaining and but I'm learning. Like you're getting 3 or 4 things for nothing for free, and it's just that all those things there's funniness going on, there's shit giving, there's swearing, there's just a whole kit bag of things.
It's great. I love it.
So no, mate, look, I really appreciate you coming on in the hot box for a chat. Thank you, mate. And
thank you.
Mate, for everyone at home, like, what Andy's doing isn't hard. But mate, the fact that you've done all this stuff at 62, you look like you're fucking 30, mate. So hats off to you, mate. And for anyone at the gym, like I'm sure you're a massive role model for people out there.
Look, I want to use this platform that if some men are struggling, tap on the shoulder. I'm always good for a yarn. And like I said, we meet every 3 weeks at Kings Beach at 5 a.m. We generally have a chat on the beach. We talk about things that are uncomfortable, and then we do Wim Hof, and that's again uncomfortable, and then we go for a swim, and in the cold mornings that's uncomfortable as well. So I think what I'm trying to promote is to get uncomfortable. For sure, and be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's it. That's what talking's about.
Well, mate, I'll definitely make a trip down for the next Friday one, because I'd love to come down and do the swim, the coffee, and the Wim Hof. So, mate, hats off to you for everything that you're doing, and really appreciate your time coming in today, mate.
So, do I get to keep this out?
Yeah, if you want. It's yours, mate. It's yours.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and if you want to know more about what Andy gets up to down at Kings Beach, send us a hoy, and I'll put you in touch with him. All right, thanks, gang. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.